Welcome back, or welcome if you're new to my channel. Today I want to make a book cover for my bullet journal, and I thought I would bring you along.
1, 2, 3, funk it!
For making a book jacket, you will need the following: your bullet journal, book, or whatever you want to make a cover for, pattern design paper, big paper, or baking paper, just something you can draw your design onto, a pencil to draw our pattern, a ruler, tailor's chalk or a pencil as well to draw on the fabric, fabric scissors and normal scissors, fabric, pins, rigid interfacing, an iron, a sewing machine or a lot of patience to hand sew, a pen to fit the elastic band so you get it right, and of course an elastic band without a pen loop. As a first step, we will lay down our pattern design paper and our open bullet journal. We will now add 1/2 centimeter on top for seam allowance. We don't add anything at the bottom because we are going to lay that at the fold. I decided to add 6 centimeters on the left and right. 1 centimeter of that is the seam allowance, but you can change it up to how you like it. I will not go into it, but you always sew away as much as you gave seam allowance. Now your pattern is already finished. Cut it out and lay it on top of the fabric and cut out the fabric now. But remember, the bottom needs to lay on the fold of the fabric. Depending on your fabric, now would be the time to iron on your interfacing. I decided against it, but I will later show you how it works with interfacing. After cutting the fabric, you can pin and sew the sides together, except for one little part, because this is where we have to turn the fabric inside out. After turning it inside out, I would recommend ironing it, and then you can close the little slit we left open. And we're already on to our last step. Taking the 5 centimeters and folding them to the middle as shown in the video. You will also notice now why this cover is without a pen loop. I made a mistake we will fix later, but I'm still showing this footage for reference. For a nice finish, I decided to stitch close to the edge all around. And now you're finished. With a pen loop. I see, you want a book jacket with a pen loop, and I get it. It's also what I had planned on doing. Let's learn from my mistakes and you can do it right the first time around. We will start pretty much the same with pattern paper, a journal and our pattern making. We again add 1/2 centimeter on top and don't add anything at the bottom. We add 6 centimeters on the left, where again 1 centimeter seam allowance. At the right side is where the difference happens. We will add 7 centimeters and cut that piece away. With the 7 centimeters, there's a 1 centimeter seam allowance on each side of the pattern. We now have our 2 finished patterns and can cut them and the fabric out. But again, remember to lay the bottom on the fold for both pieces. After cutting out, you are going to lay the 2 fabric pieces right sides together on the long side, as shown in the video, and sew it together, but very importantly, leave a little piece open in the middle. Iron the seam, cut out the interfacing a tiny bit smaller than your fabric, and iron it onto your fabric. Now put the fabric's right sides together. Sew it together, turn it inside out through the slit we left for the pen loop and iron it. You can now measure how big your elastic band needs to be for your pen. Cut it and sew together the open side. Back to the fabric. Fold in the 5 centimeters to the middle and sew it. Last steps. Sew your pen loop into the slit, and again, for a nice finish, I all around stitch close around the edges. And we're done. This is what it should look like. I hope you enjoyed the video and maybe even learned something. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next.